So enough of knees and hips and robo wars and alignment, and I'll take you to the different trajectory. So I'll also have a lot of confessions today, which certain things which I have not disclosed in the last 15, 20 years. I think it's good time I open out today. Yeah, my wife is around. So I hear a lot of young guys coming across to me, sir, I want to be successful, but when I talk to them, I feel they fail at the first commitment point. And today my first commitment point is very important because I'm a tough taskmaster, very highly loved and very highly hated for the way I execute things. But then, all going, it's very important we understand three things today. What is leadership, what is the entrepreneurship, and what is success. These three things are very important. At the same time, every big company had a small start somewhere, and every top expert that you see sitting in the front rows was once a beginner. So there has to be certain traits. There has to be certain parameters that converted them from ordinary to extraordinary. So in the next 15 minutes, my message goes on to all youngsters sitting on. I'll give you a guaranteed success formula, toasted with the strategy and execution, how to be a successful leader. So note down certain points. A lot of those things are coupled to the way I believe. It is not an MBA training class, the way I believe it across to be. So talking of three things. The first thing was success. The first point I always say, failure and success. Failure is not an opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. So success is not a marathon of life with all ups. It includes a lots and lots of failures, and the amount you go down, the amount you hit the rock bottom. When you bounce back, the extent you bounce back is the amount of success you will achieve in your life. Success is full of all failures. Success is full of all getting down the feelings. At the same time, talking of leadership, there is a lot of difference between leaders and managers. Leadership is an influence of personal power. Why I'm using the word personal power? Because I see a lot of youngsters and juniors coming on and talking of the positional powers. If I become a director of a department, if I become a chairman, my practice will increase. And sorry, I have a distinction over there. Leadership is all personal power to carry a progressively advanced community towards a common goal. One team, one dream. Now, moving on to the third thing, which is a surgeon entrepreneurship. Extremely important in the coming times. Today, we all are dealing with a cost-driven, cost-cutting environment. We work for a corporate house and the pressure is boss. We need a good bottom line. We need a good EBITDA. Government at the same time is cutting and Ayushman's coming in. At the same time, insurance gypsy is coming on to clamps. We talk of these expensive machines, but expensive machines are okay as long as you still bring a positive cash flow over there. So today, it's a reverse game. A surgeon has to juggle multiple hats now as a finance guy, as a marketing guy, as an executioner, not purely as a surgeon. So I would say the era is gone where we say jack of all trades, master of none. I would say today you required to be a jack as well as a master of all trades, because these are the traits that are required to be a good, strong leader. Shwinder is sitting here, and I'll say, Shwinder was a founder of Fortis Healthcare, and I'm going back, say, 2004-05. I came back from UK after my MCH. I belong to a small town, Amritsar, which is 250 kilometers ahead up to the north, and that's my hometown. I'm very pleased to it. I came there, and I found the canvas is smaller than what I dreamt it to be. I requested his team, give me footholds of Chandigarh. They never agreed to it, and ultimately I was sent to the master. The master met me across in a hotel, trying to convince me, Bagar, what are you thinking of? You're talking of two cities, 250 kilometers apart, all alone. How would you do it? It's not possible. I listened to him. I said, sir, I want to do it. He smiled at me. Shwinder, you must have forgot. He smiled at me and told, what you're asking is insane, but you are asking, I have nothing to lose in this trajectory. But remember, we all are warning you. You fail, you don't have to blame us because I don't have to lose anything. I heard him out. I said, what if I succeed? He told me you will lead a roadmap for future which I'll run others to follow. Showing that it's not a megalomaniac statement. I made a roadmap. I'm still following it 20 years down the line. People could not do it. And the only reason I feel they could not do it were two. A, they only saw success. They didn't see I failed 1,000 times in that process, in that journey. They did not see that. B, they were not ready to pay the price. Mind you, friends, for being successful, you always have to pay a cost and you need to be mentally geared up for that. There's always a price to it. And if you do two things, they are extremely important. So see this, sometimes it's not about who's more talented, sometimes about who's more hungrier. I used to say, ye dil mange more, raise the bar. So you have to be hungrier to grow the markets. It's not purely the talent or the good luck that takes you across to the next horizon. So first and foremost thing, Anup told about 10 commandments in kinematic alignment. I'll tell you 10 commandments in leadership. And the first commandment, the most important commandment is positivity. You have to be fearless. You have to have an unstoppable kind of a parameter that you want to hit on. It's a nature. These are the people who always think ahead, who are always inspiring. So you be a part of that part. As I told you, there's no point to think that I'll only succeed. You will succeed and fail. But the point is that success is not final and failure is not fatal. They have to move along with both of things. But you still, whatever might happen, you have to understand that I have to bounce back. And that bounce back feeling is very important as a positive mark that you need to want. Positivity is inspiring. You have to be very important. The kind of team you look forward is positive because positivity breeds and brews positivity along with that direction. Marines have a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. And somebody asked me, what is life? I said, life is a box of crayons. Bigger the box, more the crayons, brighter the picture. So when you think positive, you have to understand you are supposed to be a guy who is going to be going on a lot of risks. You have to be the front runner of the risks. Nothing comes in life without taking risks. What would you attempt to do if you knew you would not fail? Imagine a skydiver who says, I will not fall, what he would enjoy with. So while playing this game, you have to be avid risk taker, a fearless guy who's going to be going to the next direction. Equally, at the same time, this is Mark Zuckerberg. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is granted to fail is not taking risks. So, move ahead, take the next step, take risks, and move forward for a positive attire. As I told you, positivity is contagious. It goes across in teams. And success is a marathon of failures. And failures are a part of that. Do not fail. But if you fail, do not feel sad about it. Nelson Mandela said, I never lose. I either win or I learn. Same. The story is about, in positivity, about dreams. I always say you have a thought coming once in your mind, it's a dream. You have the same thought coming twice, it's a desire. You have the same thought coming back to back again and again. That becomes your passion, your obsession, your zeal of life. So you have to be obsessed a guy if you want to move forward. Dreams is not what you see in sleep. It's a thing which doesn't let you sleep. आज से in Hindi. सपना देखने वालों के लिए रात छोटी पड़ जाती है, सपना पूरे करने वालों के लिए दिन छोटा पड़ जाता है. So do not be just a dreamer. Dream positive. Think out of the box. I request all surgeons to now start zooming out and thinking at a macro level. We are just not required for a straight line or mechanical alignment and those things where even a monkey can know how to make 8 cuts. But the question is how to run an ecosystem is what is the most important part, especially in the kind of competitive environment that's coming across in our country, which is a cost-laden game. So the next and the most important part that I feel about is your goal and objective. And I'll quote that also with an example. It's a thing aimed or so. You imagine you have the best ship, the best cruise line in the world, but the captain doesn't know where to sail. You can sail around the whole world and not reach anywhere. So your directive and your goal has to be extremely important. So if the plan doesn't work, change the plan but not the goal. Goal is what drives you to the next step. So the goal is destined. It is not supposed to change. Whatever might come onto the way. I am not what happened to me. I am what I chose to be. So it's very important. So when you have a dream, go back home and put up a date on it. When you put a date on your dream, that becomes your goal. You fragment it down, it becomes the steps where you make an action, a plan. Any company can come back and give you strategy, but the two things that you cannot do is nobody else can dream for you and nobody else can file your goal. So that goal post you have to set for yourself. We all saw the movie Bhag Milkha Bhag. That number 45.9, he went to his coach in that Air India flight. Sir, what is the next goal? He made that as a goal. I'll quote you one example of a goal that I've never told anybody. People have seen me hitting numbers, but they don't know the reason. I think way back in 2008 or 9, there was an IAA, I believe, in Goa. At that time, I was very happy. I was young, in mid-30s, flying high. In the flight, the MD of Deputy J&J sat with me from Mumbai to Goa, and he sat with me. He said, Dr. Wadhwa, congratulations, sir, thanks. You hit 500 joints. At those times, hitting 500 joints a year was something which was spectacular, and I was very happy at that. He sat with me and told me, what will you do next? I said, means? He said, I believe you are around 35. I said, I'm around 35. He said, you've already reached the peak of human capacity. What will you do next? I didn't have an answer to that. I went back to my room. I was upset, couldn't sleep the whole night. At 35, I think I have more substance than what I've already done. What do I do next? Very disturbed. Next morning, I went to the gentleman and I asked him, boss, you kindled me a lot and let me sleep. I think I have a capacity for something higher. He smiled at me. What is your goal? I don't know what came to my mind. I said, I want to hit 500, not in a year, but in a month. He laughed at me. So, he said, okay, I don't mean to disrespect you. I said, but he said, what you're asking about, not growth, doc. Growth happens in 10%, 20%, 100%. You're asking about market disruption. Okay, I said, teach me how market disruption happens up. He said, you will have to dismantle everything. So, the first message I keep telling everybody is, do not accept mediocrity. Mediocrity is a dream killer. So, I could understand what I have to leave today is a comfort zone. For the next many years, I thought over that point. He said, while walking through, Dr. Wadhwa, I'm still telling you, it is almost close to impossible. I said, I will do it. He said, when? I said, आज 35 का हूँ, 50 तक तो कर ही लूँगा. So that's what I walked off the table with. I never told anybody. So all those 13, 14 years, I went on. I was hitting number after a number to a new world record, and everybody asking me, "Aadmi chahta kya hai?" I was chasing a competition with myself. Never cared what's happening across the door to somebody else, because it was a fight of me with myself. So before 50 last year, when I did that, at the month we had a party. My team is sitting with me. He said, "Sir, what next?" I was silent because I knew what I'm going to say. They're going to hate me the most. I said, we'll run the next marathon next morning. We hit again a 500. It's not a question of thing. What I want people to carry across is, it's not a number set. It's a mindset that you have to carry with you. So dreams without goals are just dreams, and they fuel disappointment. So the next thing that's important is self-learning. If you do what you study, you survive. If you do what you do not study, you succeed. So all of us have done a lot of things in the past, which is all finished, and we learn newer things across. You have seen this guy. I could either watch it happen or be a part of it. He was built in space rockets, disposable rockets. He built across electrical cars, transition from combustion to electrical vehicles. What was it? Game changer. It is not the strongest species that survive, nor the most intelligent, those responsive to change. So you have to adapt to the word that's called as a change. And you have to find and create yourself in the new mindset. Very important aspect is team building. So if you think you are Akbar, where are your Navratans, where are your Birbals? So unless until you build a team, because what I thought that day was hitting around, if I have to go that way, I cannot do it alone. I have to build a team of Spartans, the commandos, and anybody in their life who came across and told me that fucking 8-hour story was out of my game. Because there's nothing like 8 hours that exists across if you want to hit. So you have to go across the horizon, and I want to love that word from everybody. When they say, "Kab tak kaam karoge?" Sir, jab tak hai jaan. So I want people to work in that direction. And today's arena where doctors are coming into management, and we have to adapt more of hybrid managements, where we have to learn everything sitting with them, whether it is a P&L statement, to a sales team meeting, to a marketing meeting, to every parameter. Only then you will understand what is required. So we have to be part of everything. You want to be a leader, not a manager. and you have to be the boss of all situations. You have to understand, you have to embark responsibilities, you have to delegate things. But for that, we have to learn to acknowledge. Because anything that is appreciated has a tendency to get repeated. So the next important leadership part is ownership. You have to take ownership. Once you take ownership, you take responsibility. Once you take responsibility, you take total control of that situation. You have to be accountable for everything that happens through. Say the truth. Go back to the patient, something goes back, tell them what is the truth that happened through. Many times people like somebody coming up front and telling them, boss, I tried my level best, but it failed. So we have all seen Titanic, and we know the captain of the ship owns it and is the last one to vacate the ship if the wreck happens up. So that's what is ownership. If you succeed, impart it to your people. If you fail, take it to yourself because you're a team leader. You have to say the truth. That is very, very important. The next commandment is communication. Having a good communication part with your people, with your team, with your patients. Because if you have a good communication, you know that you are going to get feedbacks and you have an opportunity to convert those feedbacks to feed forwards. So every feedback can convert to a feed forward if you allow people to communicate to you. If you only want followers, you don't build in leaders, you never have a feedback coming to you. So you have to have a nice listening policy. Actively seek out and listen carefully to feedback. This is what all leaders will tell. Good communication, good leadbacks, and that's what's going to make the team strong. With your patient, hold a hand on their back. Many times they come back with all those backaches. We know what is the reason of the pain, but they want to tell you the story. You have to have a patience to listen to them. And once the lady would tell you the whole story, 90% of them would be satisfied, whatever score you might end up to. It's not a functional score. It's something that you need a communication. An eye-to-eye contact, holding a hand, and certain small communication skills that make a lot of difference. Now comes what my business guys would speak you, the vision mission statement. This is extremely important with every organization. Vision is where I want to go. Mission is why I want to go there. What is the reason for it? So every company would have this vision mission statement going along with that. Mission defines the organization's goal, its purpose, what geographic region, what demographic it wants to expand onto. And every organization, you go back to a hospital is a big chain also, would have a vision mission statement. It should be very precise, very specific. I pulled it out for Tata Memorial Center. Tata Memorial Center mission is to provide comprehensive cancer care. That means we're talking only of cancer. We're not talking of healthcare. To one and all. That means we are talking of all sectors and markets. Through our motto of excellence in service, education, and research. That means they identify what they want to hit on. If you don't build your dream, somebody else will hire you to build this. So make sure you have a dream and you execute it the right way. So strategy is extremely important. So if you don't strategize, you will lose. You look at all these companies, Kodak, Nokia, BlackBerry, they were all launch players. But they had one problem, clinging to past. So something that gave you success in past might become the stumbling block for future. So you can't stick to the past, you have to adapt to change, you have to have strategy. And patterns that gave you success in past might delay your success in future. So your strategy is extremely important, especially in the time of healthcare economics, where I've discussed many a times, it's a cost-driven game. It's a reverse calculation game. You have to strategize, and what you have to see is mark the endpoint and start working in a reverse. That's what is required from you. Today, you have all these kind of systems where you say, okay, get this value. How do you fit in everything and still make your organization fruitful and positive? And what you need is a positive cash flow. So any KPMG, McKinsey, and EY can give you strategy. What you require is execution. And execution, you have to move forward to do it. Anybody can give you a strategy. Execution is a bridge between strategy and success. And the bridge has to come on. And also at the same time, it doesn't matter whether you are the innovator or the first mover. Understand this line, speed of execution. It's not just strategy. Your speed of execution is extremely important. We have multiple examples. This guy was failing on the national front, wanted to go international, wanted to fly on all unviable segments, failure to execute. Hollywood was the first mover. Bollywood came much higher in revenues, and same as Tollywood going now. Fast mover. They were never the innovators. They were fast movers. All these things, first movers, Bada, Symbian, BlackBerry, Nokia, they were first movers, killed by a last mover. Android. Same way, all Airtels and everything, Vodafone was there. Jio came in, last mover. Speed of execution is important. It's not important you were the innovator and the first mover. Your speed is extremely important. We talk about all FMCG products. P&G, Hamdard, Dabur Universe growing by 10, 15, 20%. Babaji came in with Dant Kanti Smile, grew by 2000%. Speed of execution. So you have to be understanding these parameters extremely part. It's not only what worked for me. It's not only I launched it. It's your speed. Otherwise, you will launch and somebody else will execute that idea. So your strategy, your execution, your intelligence, everything will take you to the top. But what retains you on the top is your ethos, your core values. In every organization, there is a very important step, and that is my core values would not change whatever might happen in business. Tata, we know of one example to look into this. So all these respect and parameters always keep coming if you have your core values going alive. We all fail at some point of our life. We all fail, we succumb, we fall down. But we have to understand, if we don't fall down, we don't come. People keep saying, I need something to fall back upon. I said, there's no point of falling back. Fall in the front, you at least know what you're hitting back upon. So you have to understand, as I say, success is not final and failure is not fatal. So failure has to come across. And many times when you're a bold leader, you come across and take your steps, people like it or don't like it. And they told me I was different, and that was the best compliment ever, because I don't want to be a crowd. I don't want to be a mediocre person. So I would request each one sitting out here in those back benches to go back home and understand what you want to be. You want to be passionate, you want to be unbeatable, you want to be a Spartan, a leader, a champion, an inspiring guy. So go back home and find the leader within you. It's not over when you lose, it's over when you quit. So whatever it is, I want everybody to look back. There are a lot of times when life becomes very harsh on us. It is very cruel, very tough. We are cribbing, we are crying from inside. But always remember that game. Never go back and say, why me? You should always say, try me. Because very important, I am strong and I'll not live up on my dreams. And that's what is the end of story. You have to learn to fight, have the courage to face it, and the audacity to make sure you dream big, you dream out of the box. You build your date along with that dream, because at the time, your dream doesn't have a date. It will never come to an end point. So with this, I thank you all for being here today and making IAACON a big success. Thank you so much.